Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general mid-month reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the last 2 weeks of December. I hope you're all well. It's the last reading of the year. Where did the year go? It's been the shortest and longest year of my life simultaneously. And I'm sure that's a sentiment that's shared by quite a few of you. So, I want to take the opportunity to say thank you for being here and supporting me. It means a lot. Yeah. So, before I start getting all emotional and such like, let's get on with this. I have done 2021 prediction videos for 6 months, January to June. They're over on Vimeo at the moment, so if you're interested in that, there's a link in the description box there. You can go and have a look. They're quite lengthy, or well over an hour. So yeah, that's there. But this one's going to be short because it's a mid-month reading and it's only covering 2 weeks. So let's stop waffling and get on with it. I have 3 cards for Aries current energy, please. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. We have Wheel of Fortune, fascinating, followed by the 5 of Cups and the 10 of Wands. That's interesting. There you are at the bottom of the deck as the Emperor. I'm going to pull some clarifiers because it would be easy to see this as a kind of victimized energy, and I'm not sure that that's entirely correct for you. It seems like quite contemplative, perhaps as we're moving towards the end of the year, sort of sitting in a reflective energy and kind of working out, well, not working out really, just kind of sitting with what has been lost and what has gone and what has been hard. Maybe things are still hard at the moment. Let's have a look. I just want to see about this 5 of Cups first. Why is it here for Aries, please? Thank you. 6 of Wands. And the Wheel of Fortune. Can we have one more for that, please? Thank you. Queen of Cups. It feels more contemplative. The 5 of Cups energy is often, kind of stuck in that bereavement, loss feeling, unable to see anything else. But it seems to me like you're reflecting on how well you have managed to navigate this space more than anything else. What have we got on it? We've got the Hermit at the bottom of the deck. Yes. So there's no small amount of pride here in what you've managed to achieve, and I think it's entirely justifiable from what I'm seeing. There's been loss. People have gone, by whatever means they have gone, and perhaps you have walked away from some things before over the course of this year too, and it would be easy to get stuck in an energy of loss, but you didn't. You persevered and you worked through it, and it feels like you've learned some really strong lessons this year about your own emotional capacity. It runs much, much deeper than you thought it did. Tell me about the 10 of Wands, please. 10 of Pentacles. Tell me about 10 of Wands. Why is the 10 of Wands here for Aries? Yeah, there's that 4 of Wands, 4 of Swords energy. The reflection. And one more for the 10 of Wands, please. Got a whole heap of them. And an eye twitch to boot. This was happening in your 2021 video too. And it's the first time it's happened. Oh, there you are. I see it. Okay. There's been a lot of shifting around of priorities for you this year, Aries. Like you've used the 2020 energy. Maybe you fought it a little bit, but there's a feeling here that you kind of went with it when you needed to, when it was important to do so. And although it has been hard, and it has been hard, I see that very clearly with the 10 of Wands. Actually, what has come out the other side of it is something that you truly value. There you are in the center. We've got that, emotional fulfillment here, and we've got work here, right? There's an understanding that there's work needs to go into creating something, that will last, because this is a card of legacy as much as anything else, you know. But both of them speak about home and contentment and priorities, the right priorities. There's no notion here of working yourself to the bone. Oh, the reflection has been how hard you have worked in the past, and perhaps to the detriment of your family. This is about bringing balance in here. This is why the Wheel of Fortune has come up twice, because it's been a really, really important lesson in getting those priorities straight for you in your head. Yeah. Sometimes Aries, and it's actually one of your strengths, but occasionally it lets you down in other ways. I notice that you're appearing really strongly twice here, is your ability to be single-minded, single-focused, and just completely blinkered to everything else around you. And you know what, you're an emperor, you've got a fucking empire to run. Sometimes it's important to do that. It's actually an issue that has plagued Capricorn this year too, and like you, they are a cardinal sign. Yeah, cardinal earth and cardinal fire, and both of you suffer from that thing. Like I said, it is also your, you know, one of your greatest strengths, but there needs to be some balance brought in somewhere, and it seems like this is what you're reflecting on here, because ultimately when the world stops turning, as it seems to have done a little bit this year, and when work seems a little less important than health and emotional well-being and things like that, right? It's given you the space to stop and truly contemplate what it is that's important and bring balance into your life. I have to say, this notion of balance, I hope you can't see my eye twitching, it's absolutely doing my nut in. The 2021 reading was absolutely filled with this notion of balance, right? It probably the theme that ran through it the most was of balance, and a maturation of your energy, because you've taken the time in a way that you're not used to doing. You've taken the time and you've considered the important things. But let's have a look at the lesson of this energy. What about the lesson, please? What was Aries supposed to learn from the energy that you're in at the moment? First card is the Hanged Man. What is the lesson that Aries is supposed to learn from this energy? Four of Wands. What's the lesson for Aries? Now this is interesting. That's the Five of Wands has come up there, and that came up repeatedly in the 2021 reading too. Not because you're going to have shitloads of conflict, but actually because there's been a shift in the way that you engage with conflict, and that will continue moving forwards very strongly into 2021. It's actually going to come as quite a surprise to you that you don't bite the way that you used to. You know, you don't see red immediately. There's maturation, picking your battles is what's going on now, and some battles don't need to be fought. Yeah, I don't want to drift off into the 2021 reading. You can go and see that if you want, but the lesson, the Hanged Man, the Four of Wands, the Five of Wands, and this makes perfect sense because the Hanged Man is about enlightenment, surely is, but it's also about passivity and the value of passivity. Now I know that that is something that you hate, Aries, I get it, I totally get it. But it has its place, and actually you are in perhaps an energy of that at the moment, right? Because passivity doesn't mean that nothing's happening, it just means there's nothing happening outside, and there is a lot to be learned in the act of reflection, and I think that's what you've learned this year. You can see things differently, look at them from different perspectives. You can gain enlightenment and wisdom from that, you know, and ultimately, you know, we could say that an emperor at some point in his existence was a Knight of Wands, you know, slightly impetuous, certainly very spontaneous, maybe a little bit reckless, a bit flighty, that sort of thing. But through experience, that knight becomes an emperor eventually, And the Emperor is the you know, the strategic mind behind the battles. He's not going to send people to just, well, he might send people as cannon fodder, but that's going to have been a strategic decision. You understand? It's not for shits and giggles, right? He picks the battles, and you are beginning to pick the battles. And right, okay, so this came up a lot in the 2021 reading too, this notion of energy leaks. Like, you've had a lot of energy leaks this year, and part of what stopping and reflecting is enabling you to do is to patch up those leaks, right? Wherever they may be. Because you stopped and you looked at things from a different perspective. Your perspective is always forwards. You're always meeting things head on, but sometimes stopping and turning around and looking at what it looks like from behind is a really, really valuable lesson for you. With that Hanged Man, do we have anything else for that? Yeah, Page of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles. And the Page of Swords is expansive thinking. You know, when you consider a shape from its back end as well as its front end, you're going to learn something more about the nature of the beast that you're dealing with, you know. It puts me in mind of that scene from Labyrinth, which is one of the most terrifying things I'd ever seen when I was a kid. Like, I was about 6 or 7 when I watched it, when Sarah, is it Sarah? God, I've forgotten her name, right? Main girl in Labyrinth anyway. She's in a tunnel, and there's this huge, like, drilling machine thing coming towards her, and it's kind of spinning, and there's no room to squeeze past it. It's going to mince her up. And I was terrified when I was a child, and at the last minute she manages to get out of the way of it. And as it goes past, it's 2 little creatures just like on a little crank behind it, you know. Great big front of the thing, and it's just these 2 creatures cranking it. Now, like, the metaphor is obvious there, you know, and it feels like you're starting to see things like that in that way now, right? Rather than perceiving there to be a big battle up front. Maybe sometimes it's better to just lean back into the doorway and let it go past and see what it looks like from behind, because maybe it's not actually worth fighting. Maybe it's not worth you know, getting yourself into a screaming terror about. Maybe you don't even have to take it on in the first place. Expanding the way that you think about things. And it powers you up. It's an empowering move to pick your battles. And this is what this energy is teaching you at the moment. It's self-sufficiency and independence. Now, I know that you are self-sufficient and I know that you are independent, but your energy has been scattered. You have, you know, bless you had the Mars retrograde to deal with. I mean, that was a fucking shit show, wasn't it? It was like swimming through crap. I did not enjoy it at all, and I'm not even Aries, and I have no Aries in my chart. I just happen to be a sister fire sign, and I felt the effects of it. But the people that managed to navigate that energy the best were the ones who took the time to use it, right? Retrograde energy is always about reflection. And it was time. It was time for you to learn that. You know? Fucking hell, there were 6 planets in retrograde at one point this year. What a shit show. What a shit show. Anyway, here's that 4 of Wands, and that talks about the home, you know? And this absolutely, you know, feeds into what we're talking about here. The importance, the primacy of the home. If any of you follow me on Facebook, I posted up a video. It's one of my favourite YouTubers. And I think it's called something like Thoughts from Your Deathbed. Something like that. It's really, really good. And it's... the chap is a self-professed British knobend. I just love him. He's absolutely amazing. He did this really, really awesome video about, you know, what you would regret on your deathbed. And it absolutely isn't going to be spending time with your family. You are not going to wish that you spent more time working, you know, that sort of thing. Balance. Everything in balance. Tell me about this 4 of Wands, please. 10 of Swords. Temperance. Intriguing. One more for the 4 of Wands, please. Well, there you are as the Queen of Wands. Maybe there have been a few things that have sort of come to light over this year that have enabled you to see perhaps how other people were hurt by you not spending more time around them, not taking time with your family. That's possible. It was clarified by the Knight of Wands, which, as we know, is that kind of flighty energy. You know, it's strictly the card of Sagittarius, but it's very non-committal energy. It moves around, it goes where the fun is, it goes where the drama is quite often. And I certainly know a few Aries men who are absolute workaholics that really have needed to kind of step it down just a little bit and look at, oh, maybe this is actually just, maybe that is just a reflection of what I was just talking about there, you know, on your deathbed. Nevertheless, whichever way around it resonates for you, we've got Temperance and we've got the Queen of Wands. And Temperance brings healing and balance to things. Balance again, you know. And then you lose nothing as an Aries by shifting your priorities around, because you will always put that incredible energy that you have into anything that you do. And your home situation is every bit as important as your work situation. You may not get the status or, you know, the pats on the back at home that you get at work, but you will get so much more. So much more. No. Maybe about the Five of Wands. The Hanged Man. Glorious. Yeah. And the High Priestess. Ooh. Those are the two most passive cards in the tarot right there. Both cards are Pisces, which is the sign that precedes yours. You are first in the zodiac. Pisces is last. Pisces is all about, I guess, you know, emotional maturity, taking the wisdom of all the lessons and applying it. You know, there's something very ethereal about Piscean energy. It's coming out here to clarify the Five of Wands, which is a Leo card, and it's aggressive. Picking your battles, not having to pick all of your battles, not having to move, you know, having the wisdom to discern between them, for sure. Wow. You know, there's a lot of intuition implied here. Intuition, higher understanding, emotional maturation. There's perhaps a spiritual path being discovered for some of you this year that you are now starting to follow, where you might have poo-pooed it, you know, a couple of years ago. Now it seems like a very real, very present thing. But either way, there's a great wisdom in not acting sometimes, and you are beginning to see that. And more than that, you are beginning to bring that in. To your life. You're bringing it into your behaviour. My fucking God. I hear my cat kicking off out there. He's shouting at my daughter. Right, let's get you some advice. Some advice for Aries, please. Thank you. Ooh, Death card. Some advice for Aries, please. Ten of Swords again. Card of advice for Aries, please. Hello, have you gone to sleep? Hey, there we go. Yeah, I think it's asking you to continue in this vein of reflection and contemplation that you find yourself in at the moment. We've got two cards here that literally speak to, you know, everything that I've just mentioned there. We've got Death and the Ten of Swords, or deathbed qualities. Like, maybe it is that you need to keep that in your mind when you're doing things. Like, is this something that I'm going to value having done when I'm lying on my deathbed 30, 40, 50 years from now? Maybe, maybe not. Is it a valuable experience? Am I throwing my energy into it simply because I'm being reactive? Because that's the other thing here, right? This is highly reactive. Right? We've got all 5 of those, you know, having a bit of a scrap, and we don't know whether that's a serious scrap or whether they're play fighting or whatever. But this is not. This does not react at all. Some things don't require your energy. Some things are an energy leak. You know, go inside, feel where they are, plug up those gaps, and don't let them move forward. So, deathbed energy, potentially. But, you know, I find that really useful. I find it a useful metric. You know, am I going to be pleased that I spent my time doing this? Even maybe not on my deathbed, but, you know, 10, 15 years from now, when my children are grown and perhaps none of them living at home anymore. Like, am I going to think that this was a valuable way to spend my time? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I wish I'd sat and read them stories more, you know, something like that. But both of these cards also talk about endings. This is major endings, and I do feel like you are coming to the end of a period of your life now that is defined in, you know, one way: reactive, accidentally aggressive sometimes, maybe even verging into the controlling, stuff like that. You know, there's a relinquishing of control with the Hanged Man here, right? That's submission. And she's passive and she knows a lot, but she's not acting. Like it's submitting to the emotion of the thing. You are going into 2021 a very different beast than what came into 2020, and that's a good valuable thing. But there've been lots of endings. Make sure that you are taking from those the wisdom and the experience that you need to move forward. The 2 cards, oh, there it is. The 2 cards that came out together, Judgment and the 7 of Wands. Judgment is about resurrection of stuff, right? It's final judgment, resurrecting for final judgment sometimes. Maybe it is that while you're in this reflective energy, what you could do with doing is seeing if there are any places in which you are still defensive, because that is an indication that there is work to be done there. You know, you don't need to defend yourself. You're the first sign of the zodiac. Yeah, everybody else can fuck off. Know yourself first. I have no idea why I just said that, but it's obviously a message for someone, right? Check that you know the difference between being defensive and being protective, because that will see you well going forwards. Right, Aries, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you found something useful here for you. Like I said, if you want to check out the 2021 videos, have a look on Vimeo. Know that I love you very, very much, and I will see you for the January 2021 monthly reading. Take care.